Okay, today I've brought in my mate and solar industry veteran, Nigel Morris from Solar Analytics, and we're going to talk about Nigel's favourite topic, solar monitoring. So Solar Analytics is Australia's leading independent monitoring platform. And Nige called me up a couple of weeks ago telling me about this free offer that you've got on for customers.
Yeah.
A free trial.
We do.
It's kind of a no strings attached free trial. And I thought, may as well get you to come up here and talk about it yourself.
My favourite subject, solar monitoring.
Okay, so Nigel, I started out, I haven't told you this, but I started out in 2008 before I started MC Electrical in the solar industry, actually trying to develop a solar monitoring platform for solar schools.
Really?
So,
wow.
yeah.
There you go.
And so I travelled around Queensland, and it was terrible what we did. Like it was so the dark ages, stone ages of solar monitoring. But since then, since around about 2015, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I reckon every inverter on the market has their own Wi-Fi and monitoring platform.
Pretty much.
Why do you guys still exist?
That's a really good question. And I think the shortest answer I can give you is because solar monitoring is the only thing we do. We are a 100% solar monitoring software company. And so whilst there are other products out there, it's kind of secondary to most people's businesses, whereas we are 100% focused on it. So that means that we can hopefully build a better product, put more features in.
Build a better product. And I think you have done that, and we'll go into those features later, that the reason that we use Solar Analytics on some of our installs. But give us a little bit of a background, like where did you guys start up? Where'd you come from?
That's a great one. The tech and the idea behind Solar Analytics actually came out of a solar company that's still around today. It's gone through a few transformations called Suntech. And Suntech, around more than 10 years ago, were trying to use monitoring to diagnose technical problems in some of their modules, PID, potential induced degradation. And in trying to sort of determine whether they had a problem in the field, they worked out that there was actually an algorithm that could detect a change in the output curve of a solar panel, which was an indicator of PID.
Yes, that degradation of a solar panel is
correct.
PID.
Correct. And it had an absolutely unique signature if you looked at the data carefully enough and knew what you were looking at.
Is that right? Okay, yeah.
So that was what the foundation of the company was hang on, we can actually use algorithms and code to detect problems in solar systems before someone might otherwise see them. Long story short, the company spun out just on 10 years ago. And since then, all we've done is just develop out all the features and functions that we've got.
Right. So 10 years ago you started, or 10 years ago you sort of developed into?
10 years ago, we became an independent company and was founded by, and our four founders spun the company out of Suntech, bought the IP and the rights that they developed within Suntech, and made it Solar Analytics.
Yeah, okay. And so now what's the team made up of? It's more than just you. You're not...
I am a very small cog in the wheel. We've got about 40 staff scattered all over the world. COVID means that, our team can be anywhere in the world. So we've got developers all over the place. We've got support people all over the place. And we're a software company, so we don't necessarily need to be in an office. But Redfern based and very...
Where's Redfern?
Redfern in Sydney.
For the Queenslanders.
Yeah, Redfern in Sydney.
Yeah, okay, excellent. So software based, but I'm going to tell you why, I guess, what I think are the features about Solar Analytics that we have kind of jumped on, and the reason that we've used it in the past and in the future. And you can tell me if I'm wrong or whatever. So I think the first reason that we jumped on it was this hardware. You've just told me this is really old hardware.
That's an old model.
Really old gear. I never knew that. I just found one lying around the office and picked it up. And so where you had these CTs that would pick up the power that's flowing in and out of your house and from your inverter. And then that's got a 4G. Well, this one had a 3G card.
3G
send
SIM
it
card
up to your monitoring. So it was completely independent of what the inverter was doing, but it would be able to tell you the monitoring. And the reason that we used this from day one, like when we started using this mainly, was customers that didn't have Wi-Fi or they didn't want us to, they were tech nerds and they didn't want us to tap into their Wi-Fi network or ambulance stations or whatever that we've done that, wanted to be independent. So that was a cool thing, but you've told me recently, end of last year, you're stopping making that product.
Well, we don't make the product.
Right, sure.
It's made by an Australian company called What Watches, and we've been, their largest customer, and had a wonderful, wonderful relationship.
Yep.
And for us being a software company, what we always were trying to do was simply get good data. Where can we get good data to do what we want to do?
Sure.
And when we constantly scoured the world for the last 10 years, always looking at what hardware's out there, and kept coming back to this little product because it is such a great product.
Yeah.
And beautifully for us, made locally and developed locally. So that was our foundation, and we started selling the hardware because we needed to make it easy to get access to, and we wanted to enable that data getting to us. So we've been selling that hardware virtually the whole time the company's been in existence. But now we're at a point where not only do we integrate with this hardware, but we actually integrate with a lot of other products as well. So we've stepped away and said, look, we don't need to be in the hardware game. That's not our play. Our play has always been, let's get good software over the top of that. And so we don't sell the hardware anymore, but we still love this hardware. It solves a great problem, but we also integrate with a range of other products.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So we still can get this product if we want and use it for solar analytics?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So we just go direct, normally to a wholesaler.
That's right.
And grab that gear. So we've still got it. It just won't have that pretty solar analytics badge on it.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
But it's exactly the same hardware, has exactly the same functionality, and can be integrated into our system. What we find is that, different products suit different problems.
Yeah.
Right. And so our philosophy now is you choose the hardware, we'll take care of the software. So if this works for you and solves a problem that you've got at your application or at your site, that's the product, no problem, we'll make it work.
Okay, so the second thing I think, and this is probably one of those big features that it does different, no, I would say better, is than Fronius does, is comparative performance. So I guess I look at it this way. So if a customer calls me up and says, is my solar working? I can jump into Fronius monitoring and I can check out the DC voltage, the DC current. You guys actually don't have that on your platform. I have to jump into Fronius to do that.
Yep.
And I can spend a little while and I can tell the customer, no, everything's performing fine, or no, you've got a shaded problem, or, I would expect better out of this system. You guys do that a little bit differently. The customer doesn't have to look at DC voltage. Well, they can't for a start. But
Yep. This is absolutely one of the core differences. One of our foundational things is that any inverter monitoring platform will tell you what the solar system produced.
Yep.
Okay. You did 20 kilowatt hours today. But if someone thinks there's something wrong, what they then have to do is say, well, okay, we produced 20 kilowatt hours today, but what was the weather? What's going on in that system? Should it have produced more than 20 kilowatt hours today? And you, as you just described, you've got to do some work, or the customer's got to do some work to work out whether that 20 kilowatt hours was correct. What we do is we use algorithms and satellite data and weather data and benchmark against other systems. So when we look at a solar system, we'll say it did 20 kilowatt hours today, but based on everything that we know, we think that system should have done 25, for example. And so we show an actual and a predicted.
Yeah.
And that's the core difference between us and every other program. Although that's kind of, okay, you go, okay, so what? Well, the so what on that is if there is a drop in performance that's small, we can start to see that, and we can show you and an owner that something looks like it's starting to go wrong. So the goal here is try and detect small problems before they become big problems, because that's going to cost you money.
Yep, sure. Yeah, okay. And it does that. I remember I called you up, 6 months ago. No, it was probably a year ago or something like that, and I was doing some testing. So I use Solar Analytics as my testing instrument when I'm comparing two different inverters, because it's an independent test, but it also has really 5-second interval data.
5-second interval, that's right.
5-second interval data. So it's really good for my testing. And I remember calling you up and going, man, I get it. This is really cool. This helped me understand the problem. And it wasn't I think it was just over a period of time that I could go in and look at the data and look at it deeper and go, Solar Analytics kind of solved this problem. And I guess that happens. It's not going to happen all the time, right?
No.
But it's when that happens, the customer doesn't have to call me up or be reactive to the problem and wait until they look in and find their power bills going wrong. They get an email alert and saying that there's something wrong with it. So
that's right. And you're sort of moving on to the second part, which I think is a big difference between what we do and what lots of other monitoring companies do, and that is swags of automation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So the whole goal for us is automate the fault detection, automate all the systems and processes and backends and weather data and benchmark against the way other systems are performing. Automate all of that and only tell you when there's something that you really need to know about. So don't annoy you, don't send too many alerts, and then make all of that automatic. So the beautiful thing is whether you're an owner or whether you're a retailer, you can just count on us to let you know if something's really gone wrong.
Yep, right. Okay, I'm going to challenge you on that point because
Good.
anyone in the industry will know that that has had a fleet of solar analytics customers out there.
Yep.
That hasn't been perfect in the past.
No.
And in fact, like we've had a rainy day, and then we get alerts from solar analytics saying, "Oh, your system's underperforming," and I'm like, "Have you looked at the clouds, mate?"
That's a fair comment, and it's certainly something. What we're doing is very, very hard.
Yeah.
It is very, very hard to do at a residential level. At a commercial and industrial level, you can spend $1 squillion, you can get 100% accuracy.
Right.
To get this right at a residential level and an affordable product is a really big challenge. However, what you're talking about is mostly really, really extreme weather events.
Yep.
Really sudden, big weather events that are behaving abnormally, or bushfire events where there's smoke that's affecting the performance of solar systems, for example. So the good thing is, although we've perhaps jumped up and down a little bit too much about underperformance in the past, our algorithms undergo constant refinement. And so there's a whole lot of smoothing and diagnostic stuff that goes into our algorithms now that mean that the number of false positives, in that case, a false positive now is a very, very rare thing for us. And we've also dialed back the noise. So we understand that solar system performance does go up and down. And of course, rain and weather and clouds and all those things, we deal with them really on a daily basis across the planet.
Yeah.
So there's no problem at all with us dealing with that accurately. It's the really, really abnormal, massive weather events that we see more and more of that we've had to build new algorithms to deal with.
Yeah, sure. And you were saying this to me the other day that it's improving, and I'm not going to take your word for it. So obviously I go to Shane, my service manager. Well, no, I went to Shane, my service manager that deals with the issues, and a couple of years ago he was like, "Oh man, like we got alerts, and that they were false alerts," and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, it's not a problem anymore." So I mean, we're probably still going to get false alerts, right?
Occasionally there'll be some abnormality that is, a scenario that we haven't dealt with for sure. But the great thing is that like any software business, we've got fuzzy logic running in the background. We've got 50,000 systems out there now, and some of them as many as 10 years old. So every single day we're dealing with terabytes of data and terabytes of learning, and all of those lessons constantly build up and enhance what we do and allow us to build better algorithms. So it just constantly gets better and better and better.
Yeah, it is. And that leads us to our next point, the things that are improving. Plan Optimiser. Tell us about this, because I reckon this is probably the best feature of solar analytics at the moment. So
it's certainly one of the most popular features. Plan Optimiser, in simple terms, allows a solar owner to determine whether they're on the best retail plan. And of course, saving money with solar. Everyone buys solar to save money, and one of the key elements of saving with solar is, what is your retail plan? You're buying, you're selling, you're exporting, you're importing, you're self-consuming. So we can show you all of that kind of stuff. But of course, which rate plan you're on can make actually a remarkable difference. In fact, when we did our pilot test, using Plan Optimiser, the average solar owner will save an additional $400 a year over and above what their solar system would save them anyway, just by being on the right plan.
Can you explain how that works?
Yep.
Yeah.
So in simple terms, when you commission solar analytics, you can enter your plan details.
Yep.
So you tell us what plan you're on, tell us who you're with, and then we let the system
your tariff 11 charges, you're paying 25 cents per power, you're getting a 3-cent feed in.
That's right. What are your standing charges? All those things can be built in. You set that up, and then what we do obviously is watch what's happening with your consumption and your generation. And what we then do is scan the entire market for every available plan that's out there, and run your data over all those other plans and say, well, with your particular usage and generation, is there another plan out there would actually work better for you? And how much would you save by switching?
Yep.
So we don't do switching. We don't take a commission on switching. We're 100% unbiased.
Yep.
But what we will do is show you if it's worth the effort to switch and how much you might save by doing so.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And again, automatic.
Yeah. And I'm going to challenge you again because, like the last time, when did this roll out?
Plan Optimiser was about a year ago.
Is that all? About a year ago?
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah. Sure. And I remember, you were telling me about it for a year before that, and so we were hanging out, and it kept getting pushed back because you guys kept on tweaking it. And I remember the first time I tried it out and jumped on there, and wow, I can save $500 or something like that on this power bill, and I jump in, and that plan doesn't exist.
Yes.
So I guess it's a little bit like, and we've seen improvements, I guess, over the time, and it's one of those things that you're not gonna solve by just getting one coder on there and doing it once.
No.
Takes a little bit of time.
It's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
And in fact, the volatility in the Australian energy market is at an all-time high. It's never been more complicated.
Yeah.
And the number of retailers out there, retailers have gone bust, some have come, some have gone. There's new ones entering the market. There's new plans all the time. So one of the big things that we have to do is not only, of course, have the ability to do this analysis for you with a click of a button, but also make sure that all those plans are as up-to-date as they possibly can be. So we now do a weekly update. And in fact, during the peak of volatility in the Australian retail energy market, we were literally updating them daily. And so we'd pull plans out, we'd put plans in, change them. And of course, the algorithms that do the analysis, they also have a whole lot going on in the background. So we will automatically eliminate some that are just garbage or deceptive or whatever else, or are never going to help you. And so we try and make the choice simple, but give you enough scope. When I did the analysis at my place, Mark, I was eligible for 35 retail plans at my home. Okay. 35.
Yeah.
So switching is not hard.
Yeah.
Working out which of the 35 plans is the best one for me is actually the hard part.
And to be fair, even if it's not perfectly accurate, you can literally do what I do. Oh, wow, I can save $500. You check out the plan, you call them up. Oh, sorry, that plan was finished up yesterday.
That's right.
I'll go on to the second one. It's going to at least cut down that process.
That's
even
right.
if it's not perfect. Yeah.
And in fact, one of the things I love most about that, and I had this exact experience when I decided to change because of the advice that I'd seen. I rang the retailer and said, right, I want plan number 32. And the guy said, well, I've got this fantastic deal on plan number 36. You should really think about plan number 36. And I could literally look down the list on Plan Optimiser and I could see plan 36 and see it was going to cost me an extra $50 a year.
Oh, right.
And so
Nice.
as a consumer, it gave me all the power in the negotiation with the company that I wanted to change to. And I said, mate, I'm not taking that plan. I want plan number 32.
Yeah.
And so I had negotiating power, and it put him on the back foot.
Yeah.
Because he said, you can't know that. And I said, I do know that.
Yeah.
So it was great.
Yeah, no, that's a cool tool. So I guess we've sold the product now. I think, customers can sort of see the benefit of the product, probably that big one, Plan Optimiser, but certainly also for the off chance that, half your system doesn't work and you don't notice that,
We'll pick up
we've
on
got that
that.
comparative data and you'll pick up on that. Tell us about the freebie that you've offered us.
This is a fun one actually, because what we have found over the years, the data shows us this, is that, of course, being able to pick the difference between a good monitoring program and perhaps an advanced monitoring program, it's a hard choice. There's a lot of decisions consumers have got to make. So what we have learned over the years is when we get our software in front of customers and they get a chance to see it and to have a play around and to understand what it can do for them, they're much more likely to be willing to pay a little subscription fee and sign up. So we've been pushing our 30-day free trial really, really hard. And in fact, one of the inverter manufacturers that we're partnered with even pays for a 1-year subscription.
Yes.
So you buy that inverter and it comes with a 1-year subscription.
This is GE.
That's GE.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. And so what we've done is sort of flipped on our head and said, look, what we know is that if we can give people a chance to experience it, they'll understand where the differences are. And so our 30-day free trial has now been made super, super easy. In fact, you can literally get it with one click of a button. And just sign up for the 30-day free trial, no obligations, no credit card. Have a go. If you don't like it, don't sign up. If you do like it, sign up.
Yeah, rightio, cool. So we might put a QR code on the screen now, and we'll put a link in the bottom so people can get onto that quickly. But I'm skeptical, as you know, always. So what you're going to do is you're going to ask me for my credit card details, and then 30 days later, I'm going to forget about it, and then 2 years later, I'll realize that I've.
No, we're not. You don't need to put your credit card details in to take part in the 30-day trial.
Right. Okay.
So just all you got to do is give us the details that allows us to sign up and get connected to your system and know where you are and those basic details that we need to understand the performance. No credit card details. We'll keep nudging you along the 30 days and saying your trial's going to end, your trial's going to end. And at that point, you can put your credit card details in.
Yeah, cool. Pretty cool offer, I reckon. Try before you buy. No strings attached. So, yeah.
The one other thing I want to throw in is that getting a site set up, getting connected to Solar Analytics is also something we've been working really hard on. We have a new service now called AutoConnect. AutoConnect literally, for example, a couple of inverter manufacturers we're working with now, there is a button in the app. So when the solar system's connected and commissioned, there is literally one button that says Add Solar Analytics. And you can literally connect to us with the click of a button. That can be done in a whole different bunch of ways. Owners with existing systems can sign up on our website and do it. You can do it via inverter apps. You can come to Solar Analytics as a solar installer, and we can set it up so that it automatically happens. So what we're really trying to do is make it literally almost an automatic connection, give you a free trial, let you experience it.
And I think the other thing is you're helping out installers or installation companies like myself. And so if an installation company is interested in this for their customers, just get in contact with you.
Get in contact with us, and we'll show you the ways that we can do it.
Beauty. Okay. Thanks for your time, Nige.
Thanks, mate.